Norway changed its religion, its borders, its rulers, but not its core. History tells us Norway moved from pagan tribes to a Christian kingdom, from scattered clans to a modern nation. And on the surface, everything seems transformed. But history rarely erases things completely. Sometimes it hides them. Sometimes it reshapes them. And sometimes ancient systems continue working quietly beneath the modern world. Tonight, we explore 3 ancient Norwegian codes that never truly disappeared. Hall, official historical background. According to accepted history, Norway's early society was shaped by Norse tribes during the Viking Age. These communities followed pagan beliefs, warrior traditions, and clan-based laws. By the 11th century, Christianity spread across the region. Kings centralized power. Written law replaced oral customs. Norway gradually became part of European political and religious structures. Historians describe this as a civilizational transformation, from myth to monarchy, from tribal rule to royal authority, from ancient rituals to church law. This is the official narrative. Logical, documented, supported by historical records. Yet many scholars acknowledge that cultures rarely reset completely. Instead, they adapt, and this is where deeper questions begin. Some researchers suggest that Norway's identity was not rebuilt from nothing, but layered. Old systems were not destroyed. They were absorbed, reframed, renamed, and quietly preserved. Par, the first ancient code, law before kings. Long before Norway had centralized rulers, it had something else. Assemblies. Known as early community councils, these gatherings allowed free men to meet, debate, and decide legal matters. Conflicts were settled publicly. Punishments were agreed collectively. Leadership was based on respect, not birthright alone. Some historians believe this created a deep cultural expectation that authority must answer to the people, even when kings later emerged. The tradition of legal assemblies remained. Over centuries, these evolved into formal courts and parliaments. It is debated whether Norway's strong democratic tendencies originated not in modern politics, but in these ancient Viking-era councils. One interpretation is that Norwegians never fully accepted unchecked power, because for generations, they governed themselves, not through rebellion, but through tradition. The second ancient code, honor as social currency. In early Norse society, reputation was everything. There were no large police systems, no permanent armies maintaining daily order. What controlled behavior was honor. A man's word mattered. Breaking trust meant social isolation. Cowardice meant permanent disgrace. Some historians suggest this created a culture where personal responsibility was stronger than written law. Justice was often restorative, not only punitive. Families were expected to resolve conflicts, compensate wrongs, restore balance. Even after Christianity introduced new legal frameworks, the importance of personal integrity remained central. It is debated whether Norway's modern social trust, high honesty levels, low corruption, strong community responsibility, is partially rooted in this ancient honor system. One theory suggests modern institutions simply replaced the social role that honor once played, but the psychological expectation never disappeared. people still behave as if reputation matters deeply. 1. The third ancient code, nature as authority. To the early Norse, nature was not scenery. It was law. Mountains marked boundaries. Seasons dictated survival. Storms decided life or death. Some researchers believe this created a worldview where humans were not above the environment, but within it. Respect for land was practical, not romantic. Misuse meant famine. Disregard meant extinction. When Christianity arrived, religious authority grew, but the deep relationship with nature remained. It is debated whether Norway's modern environmental consciousness, its protection laws, cultural outdoor traditions, and resource management are echoes of this ancient survival logic. One interpretation is that Norwegians never lost the instinct that land is not owned, but borrowed from the past, from future generations, from forces larger than governments. The deeper pattern, when these three codes are viewed together, a different story of Norway emerges. Not a nation rebuilt from scratch, but a civilization that evolved carefully. Ancient community governance became modern democracy. Honor culture transformed into social trust. Nature reverence shaped environmental responsibility. No secret societies, no hidden rulers, just continuity. Slow, quiet, generational. End of 40. Nations often claim clean beginnings, new constitutions, new religions, new borders, but human systems rarely vanish. They adapt. They dress in new language. They operate through new institutions, but their core logic remains. End of quote. Norway changed its kings, its faith, its political structures, but beneath it all, some ancient frameworks continued guiding behavior, not by force, by memory, by culture, by what felt natural. Yerezin. Empires rise quickly. Governments fall suddenly. But social codes move slowly, sometimes over centuries, sometimes invisibly. Some codes survive because they adapt. And a 6 in this video explores history and disputed theories for educational purposes.